Alright, TDV, we're going to do a quick coil tutorial. We'll start with the basics. I love the Stanley set of screwdrivers. It's got from a little bitty guy all the way up to a 3.5 millimeter. And I always build on the 3.5 millimeters because I like big old coils. I've got my little vape kit here. Got some nippers, bent nose, needle nose pliers, scissors, tweezers, all different screwdrivers, and Japanese cotton. I like to build different coils, so I have from 22 gauge to 34 gauge wire, just depending on what I want to build. Tonight I'm going to build on some 22 gauge nichrome. Nichrome has a lower resistance than Kanthal, so you have to pay attention to what you're doing. So when I'm building coils, I always just take me off one loop, and it is what it is, unless I know I'm going to need more wire. Then I'll take off whatever I need. I like for my wire to be all nice and straight, so I'll use my pliers and get out that little bent piece at the end from being notched in there. So since I'm using something different than Kanthal and using a different gauge than what most people would use, we're not going to worry about wraps and stuff. Download something like Steam Engine or go to steamengine.org and put in your wire, what resistance you're trying to hit. It's got a amp calculator, so you can make sure you're running something safe on your batteries. I grab the wire firmly between the screwdriver and my finger, my thumb, and I like to wrap over the top. You want to make sure your wraps are nice and tight. No gaps. I'll take my pliers, grab the end of one lead, hold the coil tightly, and I tighten that bad boy up. There's one coil. Always keep close track of your coils, how many passes you make. Because when you lose track like I just did, it makes it a pain in the butt. I usually run dual coils, so I'm going to twist me up a second one. I really like this Mastery Clouds brand. I buy a 100-foot spool of wire. Comes with a bag of Japanese cotton. Usually runs about $10. That's for Kanthal. You always want to make sure that both coils are identical. You don't want coils heating unevenly. People will say you can do it. You can go play in traffic too, but I wouldn't recommend it. When you're building these, safety is your utmost importance. You can worry about chucking clouds after you learn how to build coils. Sometimes it helps to have one lead shorter than the other, so you can feed one in one hole first and feed your other one in. I'll usually put my coil in there, cinch it up pretty good, and lock it in. If I'm centering my coils, I lock in my outside post, which is most often your negative, and then you center it up. You want your coil perfectly centered up in the middle of your RDA. This is a bottom airflow, so it's really important for that for it to be centered up over your airflow. Otherwise, it's a mess. I always pull back against the post after I've cinched it down, and that really tightens it up. You want to make sure you have clearance between the outside and your coil, so when you put your top cap on, it doesn't short out on you. Cannot express how important it is to make sure that everything's good and tight. Now that I've got that coil happy, I'm going to go ahead and take him back out. I'll set up my other coil, and then I'll stuff them both in there. I do it this way so I'm not fighting two coils in one hole and then having to try to figure out how I'm going to cut it off. Again, I'm just cutting it to make those legs uneven so it's easier to feed into the post holes. Consistency is the key. You want two really good, solid coils. I'll loosen my post holes back up. If the ends are bent up real bad from setting it in the post, you can straighten them out with your pliers. Sometimes that'll help feed them back in there easier. Got them reset. Crank them down. And I mean, I'm putting a pretty good amount of force on here. And what that's doing is I'm tightening the coils up by pushing them with screws set. And I'm pulling everything real tight. Got them centered up. I'm not going to short out on the sidewall. I'm not going to short out on my posts. The coils are not touching anything. It ended up a little bit higher than I wanted it. But the purpose of these coils are not for daily vaping. These coils I'm building for cloud chasing. So if you're watching this tutorial because you need it, I highly recommend that you don't build below a 0.2. It's a good starting point. You can get a feel for what you're doing. Everybody's got different opinions on how to do this, but if you're new, make sure you're using good batteries. And don't go crazy. Don't worry about clouds right now. Worry about safety and enjoying what you're doing. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of pulsing it, and you'll see the coils heat up, but they don't heat up evenly. So I get them good and hot, and I just give them a little gentle squeeze. Do not fire it while you're squeezing it, because you're causing a short by doing that. I recommend if you're going to build a lot of coils, you get some ceramic tipped tweezers, which I have some. Got them on Amazon for $3.50. It's only going to take them 6 weeks to deliver them. So I just give the coils a little squeeze. And I'll blow on them to cool them off faster. These coils are really starting to come together. And they're looking sexy. You'll see they heat up consistently and evenly from the inside out. Now I'm going to make sure that these coils are evenly spaced and evenly off the deck. I've tightened it up too much to be able to put my screwdriver back in there, but this is a good safe build. I'm not too concerned about overheating my batteries. As Justin Ward can attest, I can build some pretty crazy low builds that I wouldn't even tell people about what they ohm out at. So this deck's pretty hot by now, so just be careful. I'm almost out of time for my video, so take my Japanese cotton, and what I've been doing lately is I'll cut it about twice as wide as what I think I need. Then I take the cotton, I split it in half. Take it, twist it tightly, feed it in there, pull it through, and then slide it back and forth. You should feel some resistance, but it should slide smoothly, not snag, not grab. Hey, baby. I like to use a little skinny screwdriver to tuck my cotton in. And with cotton, less is more. So I'll take my screwdriver, stuff that down in there. I want the cotton touching the deck. Got my Texas Rebel Juice secret sauce. Don't bother looking for the flavor, it doesn't exist. It's just something I had Melissa make me up for doing videos like this and cloud chasing. It's Max VG, zero nick, and about a 5% flavor. So it's really light on the flavoring. And there she goes. Got about 12 seconds left to be able to do this video. Appreciate you guys. Love y'all. Thank you so much for what you do. Thanks for all the support y'all give us. Peace out. Have a good night.